Welcome to tonight's show. I usually try to do some real dramatic introduction, sound real deep, but I'm just going to quote one of my favorite YouTubers. Don't take life too seriously. Seriously. Tonight's guest is Cody Creelman from the Cody Creelman calve channel. But now, Cody, I got a bone to pick. Can I still call you that?
I don't know. You can call me whatever you like.
So, Cody, there's been some changes to your life, your channel recently. We've had you on the show before. Cody
Yeah.
has a YouTube channel where he's been chronicling his journey as a cow vet for a long time, but something big just changed. Cody, tell us.
Yeah, that's right. So recently I just had an announcement video. The title of the video was I am not a veterinarian anymore. And it was me explaining my story of leaving my clinical home, leaving the practice that I was an owner of, and how life is taking a new turn for us. So yeah, it's exciting times.
I reached out to get you on the show because I knew you had this big life change, and I figured it'd be a good time to share it with the audience. But selfishly, I also reached out to Cody because we have a cow who's going to give birth any minute. Luna will be giving birth, and that is her first time freshening. And that's where I've heard you can anticipate some more issues. So I figured we could talk a little bit about cow pregnancy from start to the actual calving, get some advice from Cody on how to start it off, how to plan things, what to look for as you get closer, kind of where we are right now. I was really excited because I thought maybe it would happen before this interview. She could be starting right now. Kay wouldn't tell me. She'd be out there getting started. But I think it's going to be a couple more days from what we can tell so far it looks. But maybe Cody will help me figure out if it's sooner or not. So we're going to dive right into this topic. Let's assume you're talking tonight to someone like me, maybe minus even one calving experience. A lot of our audience has maybe one family milk cow. Maybe they're planning on getting their first family milk cow. When do you want to start this whole process of before the cow's even been bred? What do you want to start thinking about? What plans do you have to start making to begin this whole process?
Yeah, no, I'm glad you backed it up because there is that exciting day, the day that the baby calf comes, and there's a lot to unpack there. But you're absolutely right. We want to start all the way back at the beginning. We want to start knowing her maternal line, knowing what her calving ease is. Perhaps you got her from a purebred producer. That can provide us some information on what her calving ease is going to be. How easy was her mom as a calver? How easy is the breed in general? All different pieces of information that you can kind of suss out before you even make that big purchase. Then let's say you do make that big purchase and it's breeding time. We need to be cognizant of the genetics of the bull that we're using. Once again, the bull is 50% of the genetics. So we're going to be looking at his birth weight and also what kind of the variability in his birth weight is going to be. Typically with first calvers, we're going to want an easier calving breed. We're going to want something that's throwing a little smaller calves, whether or not that's something like a Jersey, that's really great. That's typically a smaller calf. We're not going to want to breed our Jersey cow to a big old beefy Charolais bull with 130-pound birth weight. That's probably going to be getting ourselves into a little bit of trouble. But even within the beef breeds, we can certainly select based off of just breed differentiation. Now, there's easy calvers in every breed, so not to throw any breed under the bus, but there is certain breeds that are a little better performing when it just comes to calving specifically. It has nothing to do with gain, it has nothing to do with milking performance, but just calving specifically. So we want to make sure that our bull is selected for is a heifer bull that is selected for an easier calving time with a lower birth weight. So now that we've set all of that up together, we have this expectation that we've done everything possible for superior genetics to meet our goals. And our goal in a first calf heifer should be an easy time having calf. That's definitely one thing that we want. We don't want to invest all that money and then to lose the calf and lose the cow at the end of the day. So a little bit of time up front goes a long ways.
So, Cody, for someone who is brand new at this, looking at finding out the birth weight, the average birth weight that maybe the bull is throwing, all this information you're talking about, where is the place that they would look to find this?
Yeah, so the best place for each specific breed would be the breed registry. So let's say you were looking to get into Angus. The American Angus Association website has the best resource for all of the EPDs that exist specific to that breed. So the registries are a great place to get started.
So that's one of the things we have been pretty strong about this. If you're starting your homestead herd off, we really suggest if you can afford to get a registered animal. Do you think that's a good move for a homesteader, Cody?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the only other route that I would go that would give me that level of certainty is if you had a very trusted relationship with a breeder where you saw, on the ground, animals, you were working with that person. So you knew that they were providing exactly what you were expecting. So I think there can be, in terms of hybrid bulls and composite bulls that aren't specifically registered. I think there can be absolute high quality, but that takes a lot of relationship and trust and a little bit of background knowledge. Whereas with the purebred, there certainly is that opportunity for you to use some of those tools that are already built into that animal's genetic profile.
And that's, I think, the point. It's not that being a registered animal in itself automatically makes it a better animal. It's just if you don't know the person enough to really trust what they're telling you. If it's just a Craigslist animal and the guy doesn't know you and he's never going to see you again, if you don't know that you can trust that individual, at least the registry is something you can go to.
Yeah. And the other thing with the registries is they also provide a level of insurance as well built in within that registered animal. It gives you recourse. So let's say you bought a heifer that was a free marten. So that was a twin to a bull who was infertile. If that animal is registered, you have recourse back to that producer. Think of it as like a lemon law. So you can now have recourse to get full refund on that animal based off of if it does not perform to that breed standards. That's all part of the package.
That's an awesome tip right there that I had no idea. We've bought registered animals in the past, and we've never had a free marten, but that's just something good to know. So really good advice, Cody, for someone who's right at the beginning before they even have bred the animal, to pick the right cow to have bred. And our guest, not last week, but 2 weeks ago, our guest talked about starting with a cow who already has had a calf is usually better for a beginner. You found your cow that you think is going to be a good fit. You've searched around. You found the bull that you want to go with. Do you suggest AI? Do you suggest getting the bull on your property? What are the pros and cons to both?
Absolutely. So when it comes to AI, there can be an inherent increased cost in labor that's associated with that. So whether or not we're setting that animal up with a hormone program, a fixed AI schedule, there can be some skills that need to be learned for AI, how much of that work you want to do yourself. When you bring a bull onto the ranch, you're not doing a lot of work. You don't need to be trained as the farmer. You just get to watch, right? But when it comes to the AI event, there is a lot of things you would have to be looking for potentially heat detection. You would have to know how to give injections. You may be doing the artificial insemination yourself. So there's a skill set that is associated with that. What AI is really the absolute best for is it allows for the propagation of superior genetics. Number one, that's why this technology has been so far disseminated. It allows me that has one cow to have access to this $50,000 bull or this $100,000 bull to propagate the genetics of my herd to the fullest extent, which is a very wonderful thing that it allows us to do. The secondary thing is it decreases that investment if we only have a few animals into that bull. A bull is an expensive thing. Bull only has to work a couple seconds a year, right? He doesn't have to work that long, and then he's on vacation. Bulls are inherently dangerous. They eat a lot. They destroy fences. There's a lot of negative issues with having that live animal, and you need to have enough animals to amortize that price over it, right? You need to have at least 25 cows, 30 cows to really make that bull pay. And even when you do the math, depending on how expensive a bull you buy, it could be cheaper to do AI in the long run if you're set up right and you have enough skills to do some of the work yourself.
AI, I think AI is the way to go, even for a homesteader who's trying to, live that simple life. If you can find an AI tech who will, our AI tech charge $12, Cody. It's like,
Yeah.
$12.
Yes, yeah. In most geographies that I know of, that that would be pretty close to the same price. Like, yeah, there's a lot of AI techs available, a lot of large farms that are utilizing them. So there's a lot of access. They're very flexible. Absolutely.
Once you've done the AI, or if you've had a bull, whichever way you've decided to go about this, Cody, what is the best way for somebody like us to preg test?
Yeah, I think it's kind of geographically and veterinary driven of who do you have close to you? Do you have access to a veterinarian? Do you have what is that experience going to be? I am a very, very big fan of the blood test. I'm a huge fan of that for remote situations, for small scale situations. Things like blood tests, things like milk test, a very economical option. The accuracy is great. I think in most homestead situations, you do not need to know on day 27, the earliest you could possibly preg test with an ultrasound. If you push that out to what is the recommendation on a 35 days or 40 days to get an accurate result, then that's great. I think that's a very good option as well. And some of the more if you had a bull or you were very in tune to your animals and experienced, you might not even need to do a preg test just by seeing if that cow's cycling back on her scheduled heat. That could be good enough in some situations where you're really in tune and trained.
This is the end of the first part in what will be a multi-part series. Cody went on to talk in depth about cow nutrition, what you want to feed a pregnant cow. He talked about minerals. He even told us why he likes to avoid using feed that has come from a feed mill.
Start feeding a little extra concentrate. And I always like to keep all of my rations as simple as possible. I'm not a fan of pre-mixes. I'm not a fan of feed mill,
If you want to hear all of that, the extended version of this interview is available back at our website, thisishomesteady.com, in the Pioneer Library. Click here to become a Pioneer. You'll gain access to our full-length interviews, all the bonus content that we produce, and you can join us live for these interviews when we do them on Monday nights. Click here to become a Pioneer, and stay tuned for the next part in this series, which will come out here on YouTube, talking all about how to deliver a calf.